So I'm back again. Hey guys. Okay, so this is going to be Thanksgiving edition because I'm not going to do a full report on the entire week. There's so many astrologers out there that do such a great job to give you like the weekly report on astrology and what to expect, but I'm only going to do right now a Thanksgiving edition because I really feel like it's very necessary, especially with what we just went through with the Kazemi last week, and that big like shakeup for everybody, and the intense feelings that people were feeling. It's still going on. There's still Mars is still in Scorpio, so there is still intense waters. There might even be like ups and downs right now. Since Friday, it literally has felt like a roller coaster emotionally. So I know some people are feeling it. I know in my closer circles, I've heard the same. This is just kind of like the week to just chill. Like, don't put so much on yourself. And I'm talking to myself, like, not to put so much on myself. I'm not going to have my kids for Thanksgiving this year. Me and their father, he'll have them one year, I'll have them another year. This year it is his year. And so unfortunately I won't have them, which makes me kind of sad because I always love having my kids around, especially for like anything that has to do with food, because me and my girls love food so much. And so I was thinking to myself yesterday, I'm like, oh, well, maybe since I'm not going to see them on Thanksgiving, I will make a Thanksgiving dinner for them on Monday, which is today. And I started putting all this pressure on myself, and I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this? Okay. I woke up later because I was really tired last night, or this morning, and I went back to sleep, and then I didn't wake up until like 11 o'clock. I didn't start getting moving until around that time. My kids, were talking to me. They came in and we were doing our thing. And then before I know it, it's already like 1 o'clock. And I'm like, oh my God, the sun's already going down. I need to do something. And once again, luckily, my husband's always around at the exact time I need him, because as I'm trying to plan out, figuring out how I'm going to make this happen, I was like, oh, I didn't brine a turkey, and I really like when I brine my turkeys. Even if I'm doing like a half a turkey, all these crazy things. And my husband's like, well, hold on. He's like, don't we have them this weekend? I was like, yeah. I was like, but because I was thinking to myself, I'm going to Indio to go see my in-laws on Thursday, and then we'll be coming back on Friday. And I'm like, oh, that's right. Yeah. And then he's like, well, then he's like, just do a Thanksgiving dinner like Saturday. He was like, well, we can just do that. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Because it's not about the day. It's not about getting things in before time or, let me slow down a little bit. Everything is structured. Everything was created in structure in a Western culture. And this is probably why I'm going to go off a little bit. This is probably why I don't care for holidays, because I am such a holistic, going with the flow kind of person. I wouldn't say I hate, but I very much dislike holidays because you have to rush at them. You have to make sure you're prepared. You have to make sure, especially if you're having the dinner, a Thanksgiving dinner, it has to be prepared ahead of time, this and that. There was one year, again, which was also during the pandemic, that same year in 2020, that I was like, you know what, I'm just going with the flow. Like, whatever we make, we make. And I just took my time and I spent the entire day just cooking, and it was beautiful. And I didn't have to rush. It was such a nice excuse to not go to families' houses because we couldn't, right? Like, there was still the pandemic happening, and so nobody wanted to be around each other. So I was like, I'm just going to do my own thing. It was like the perfect thing. I love being able to celebrate it in my own home, where I can just kind of take my time and not have to rush and get ready, making sure that my family has, nice outfits, because that's a thing for me, being Venus and Mars Libra, making sure everybody looks good, making sure I have all the things that I'm bringing, make sure we're on time so that, our dishes aren't late. And I was born very close to a full moon, so I'm always late. For those of you that, you should find out if you're born on full moon, typically those people are always late. It's a matter of fact, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I have accepted that about myself, and and that's okay. But it's all structured, and that's not fun. That is not fun, especially for a water sign. especially for, I think, a lot of people in general, people that are very emotional in general. I don't think it's a good thing. And so, you know, but that's what I'm conditioned to be like. I'm conditioned in this world to need to do things, or, I need, or I'm always justifying, like, okay, well, I have to do this, I have to do that, I should do this, I should do that. And if I just let go of all the justifications, I can be myself. And so when my husband helped me give me permission, because sometimes I don't give myself permission, he helps make me see that, you know what, I have permission to just do it whenever I want, that I don't have to have this perfectly set thing before Thanksgiving to make sure that my kids feel like they're loved, or whatever goes through my head. Like, there's so many narratives that go through my head. I start to feel bad, and maybe that's just the mom thing. It's like, oh, well, you know, they didn't ask for, for their parents to split up. They didn't, all these things. Ask for their parents to split up. They didn't. I don't know. Like, maybe, I needed to. I may have to make this dinner, like, today, so that they can. So then we can, do it before Thanksgiving, so it's not a late Thanksgiving dinner. Like, so many dumb freaking thoughts that go through my head. All this guilt, and I'm constantly trying to, like, just lower the beats just a little bit, and taking a beat because I put so much pressure on myself to be perfect. And so thankfully my husband had, like I said, he said, let's do Saturday, like, no worries. So that's perfect, because then Friday I can come. I can, today I'm actually going grocery shopping anyways, because my daughter has a Friendsgiving she's having here at the house tomorrow. So I had to pick up stuff anyways. I'm like, oh, I'll get a turkey, a turkey today, and then I'll brine it, on Friday, which is perfect. So everything worked out perfectly, but I was just putting so much pressure on myself. And in case all of you, or some of you guys out there, are doing the same thing, like, where is that showing up in your life? Where is that energy of, even some of this Kazemi energy of, of these ups and downs showing up in your life? Are there times that you need to just maybe take a beat, so that you can recognize, you know what, I don't need to put so much pressure on myself. This isn't good for my mental health. This isn't going to be good for my family, especially with the holidays right around the corner. I'm just going to exhaust myself, and I'm going to be a humbug, or I'm not going to be a fun person to be around. And I'm constantly thinking about that. That's why earlier today I was like, my kids are a lot when they get back to my house, because it's very different energies at the other house. And so in my house, it's usually, I try to keep it typically calm. They're a little crazy, and that's okay. But when they first come back, it's very, like, they're just readjusting to a different energy in a different home. And sometimes it's a lot for me. So I was like, okay, after I spent, like 2 hours with them, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go upstairs and go meditate, because it's a lot. It's like, it's just too much stimulation for me from just not having them over this past weekend, because I get them every other week, or every other weekend, and it was nice and quiet this weekend. Besides all the mental craziness that was going on in the world and in my head. That's why I did that one video on Saturday. For the most, it's usually, like, really quiet. So, where was I going with that? Sorry, I'm gonna lose track a little bit. So yeah, so like I was saying, where is that? Where is that? Where is that feeling of, like, I would say overstimulation? Where is that coming from? Why does it feel like an up and down right now? Maybe take a step back and maybe kind of, like, figure out, is this a condition that I was taught, and I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself because of it? Or is this something that I absolutely have to do right now because, I don't know, somebody's about to die? Obviously, that's never going to be, or in most cases, it's never going to be the case. So everything can wait, and everything can be done in its own pace. And so maybe, and me, myself, reminding myself, just take a step back and breathe, and take a pause, and really, like, collect my energy, and really collect my thoughts, so that I don't overdo it. And um yeah, and I just don't put so much pressure on myself. My poor me. I put so much pressure on myself. But So with this Kazimi that we just went through, the energy, like I said, is going to still kind of like taper into this week. And so being very mindful of that, being very mindful. There might be times where we feel like really empowered this week, and then like we got it all together and we figured it all out, and maybe all the things that we've brainstormed and that we spiritually feel inside feel really good. And then maybe the next day it's going to feel completely flat again. And like that's okay. Like that's okay to have those highs and lows right now. You're just learning how to harmonize it. But Thanksgiving edition is what I meant was literally on Thanksgiving, there is going to be a transit that I saw. And I'm like, man, I was like, what should I prepare for on Thanksgiving? Because I am going to my in-laws. And maybe it's the typical story that everybody has. Maybe some people get along with their in-laws. I love my in-laws. I really, truly do. We just sometimes see different things from a different perspective, and that's okay. And so I was like, let me see what I need to prepare myself for, because I am also a firecracker. I have Aries moon, and so I have this fire in me that kind of likes to speak my mind. Or I am also a Scorpio, and so I kind of will dig when I see that something might be right there, just so I can see somebody's like true self. Some of these traits can be good sometimes, and sometimes they can be bad. But we are actually going to, oh, that's right. The sun is squaring Saturn that day, like literally on Thanksgiving. Oh my God. Like, why, out of all times, why does it have to literally be on Thursday on Thanksgiving, the day that we're all supposed to be family oriented and happy? Like, what happened? Like, the universe is fudging with us. It literally is just fudging with us, because it's probably not the worst. It's just a very challenging transit to happen during a time being around a lot of people, especially family, because family tend to be a little bit more confident in what they get to say to other family members, because they feel like they've known them longer. And so they're like, they can just kind of like throw up whatever they want. Well, if there's any day that anybody will be throwing up any kind of words, it will be on Thursday. The sun is bright. It's the ego. It outshines things. Saturn is the she's the destructor. She brings up all of the bullshit, all the caca that's under the under the rug, and says, "Hey, maybe we should talk about this." And this is the worst day to talk about this, because it's supposed to be a really family oriented, beautiful holiday. And so these are some of the, I'm just going to read from here, because just to give you guys a little bit of insight, and I'll kind of just, talk about it. But this is kind of what we're going to like be dealing with. So one of them was feelings of restriction. People might feel a bit constrained or face some limitations. This can manifest as feeling obligated to uphold traditions or responsibilities that might not align with personal desires. Like, can it like align and connect with that day, like even more so? Like, it's just crazy to me, like that the day that we're all going to see our families, and maybe family members that we might not like, or maybe family members that we have different judgments about, or maybe somebody will have that about you. Like, on that day, a lot of stuff might be coming up for you guys, like or for us. And I'll keep this for my experience. Like I said before, I don't know if it's just me or if it's all family, but I have experience, maybe it's not all family, because I've had other experiences that were different. But for example, me and my mother-in-law, we're not the closest, and if she ever watches it, like, I'm okay with that. I love you. But I know we see eye to eye in a lot of things. I'm very, very unconventional, like to the max. Like, that's probably why I don't like holidays. I just think they're silly. Whereas she's very, very conventional, very traditional. Different generations too. I believe she's a baby boomer, and I'm millennial. So we see way different in the way we do things, and probably the way that we raise our kids, or the way that, I dress, or, the way that, we have just different values, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I was just kind of reflecting on this. I'm like, okay, there will be challenges on that day for me. So then what could I do to kind of overcome this? I was thinking, okay, well, if something does come up, whether she says something, or maybe, or maybe I trigger her in some way, I need to know that, and I have to remember that she does have her own perspective, and that she's not wrong. Even though I might believe that she might be wrong in some ways, I can be not even a bigger person, but I can be that person that is self-aware enough to know that everybody has their own way of seeing the world. And I do, like, I do every single day when I talk to people, or when I see things online and I see other people's opinions or Instagram or whatever. It's like, why my first judgment is like, why do they think that? That's crazy. But then I'm like, well, you know what, hey, we're all living our own reality. So you know what, if somebody thinks the earth is flat, and then maybe the earth is flat for them. Maybe in their reality, maybe things are flattened out for them. Like, maybe that is what brings them peace, to know that the earth is flat. Whereas me, it brings me peace to know that, everything is, everything's just a ball. Everything's a circle, everything is round. So everybody will have their own perspective, and if something comes up that day for me, then I have to know that I have my own self-awareness to be able to just overcome any kind of challenges that come my way. That I can be, I hate the word bigger person, because I feel like that takes away from the actual power that you have. And maybe that is a good word, but from the actual power you have, being self-aware. Because you're not being the bigger person, you're just self-aware. Like, you're just being self-aware. It's not, yeah, well, I can just shut it off because, I'm a bigger person. That's what it is. It comes from ego. Being the bigger person comes from ego. Or even, oh, well, I'll just be the bigger person. That's still coming from ego. That's you hiding now. Whereas you can just be self-aware, self-aware that, you know what, we both have different perspectives, and that's okay. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, I love you, I forgive you. I'm sorry. Um, what is it? Gosh, I can't remember the hope. I know one of you guys can correct me, but Ho'oponopono, I believe it is. It's just Ho'oponopono. And somebody please, in the comments, can you please just write what that is? But I love it. Anyways, if you don't know, make sure you look it up, because I think it's a beautiful mantra, which is basically just forgiving and kind of moving forward, and knowing that your self-awareness was able to take over those situations, and not take it so freaking personal, and just be like, okay, it's okay, that's fine. So yeah, so Sun and the Sun and Saturn squaring will also create maybe like a serious tone. There might not be like this happiness. Maybe it's not a good day to drink a lot, if or do any kind of like, I don't know, any kind of drugs or stimulants, because the tone might be toned down a bit much. There might be a lot going on in everybody's universe, their mind. And so just kind of taking it easy and letting this day kind of flow, instead of like feeling that obligation to make it like every Thanksgiving, because not every Thanksgiving is always going to be the same, because we're always going through different transits. So it only makes sense to just maybe be, or make the decision for yourself to kind of just tone it down, just be the observer that day, and make sure you're just, there with love. And so, and another thing is like focusing on responsibilities, it says, but there might be a heightened awareness of duties and responsibility, possibly leading to stress and sense of burden, especially in the context of family and social obligations. I know where this can come in on my end. Sometimes if I'm like late to a party or something, which typically is all the time, I will still or I'll start feeling really terrible about myself. Like, oh, why can't I just be responsible? Why can't I just be, on time? And I start getting really down on myself, and really just making myself feel really terrible about myself. And that's not fair. That's not fair to me. It's not about being perfect, and it's not about not being perfect. It's just time is an illusion. Like, the person, or the group, I will say, that created this concept of time, that everything needs to be in this structure, I really think screwed a lot of people up, because now we're feeling guilty if we're not, at a certain place at a certain time. So be really aware of that, especially if you're like me, where if you're feeling like you're going to be late already and you have kids or you have a husband, um, you start to project it on them and be like, oh, hurry up. Why aren't you ready? Oh my God. And then all of a sudden you're blaming them for the reason why you're late. But really it's because maybe you didn't prepare well enough, you know? I've learned this a lot with me now, like especially being with my husband for 10 years. I have to know, like, it takes my husband about 20 minutes to put his shoes on. I don't know why. Or to like get out. If I say, okay, let's go out the door, it takes him 20 minutes to get out. So I know to tell him a good 30 minutes before I'm about to leave. I said, okay, everybody get your shoes on, let's go. And then I'm like, I'll take my time because I know that it will take him a while. But I've learned to work with it and learn to work with other people's patterns. And I've learned to stop projecting my stresses on my kids. That was a huge thing for me, like projecting that. And I think that's because I also was taught that as a kid. Um, you know, growing up, like it was just always a rush and always yelling. It was always chaotic whenever we had to go to a family thing. And I just hate that. And where I'm now, I'm like, okay, so I sometimes still become, you know, sometimes it does creep up on me, but most times I'm like, okay, we'll get there when we get there. We'll get there, and I just want to be safe. There's no rush. It's okay. Or I also prepare where I will let somebody know, like, hey, don't depend on me for the dinner rolls right away because I might not be there on time or whatever it is. Or maybe I'll be like, hey, can I bring you the dish the day before? Or I'll say, hey, how about I just give you money and you go and pick that up? And then at least that was my way of contributing, so I knew I contributed in some way. So there are different reasons or different ways you can focus on the responsibilities that you really feel on that day without getting angry and projecting them on other people, because that will obviously set a tone in its own right. So let's see. Yeah, so aside of all the challenges we will have on Thanksgiving, this is an opportunity for growth. This is an absolute opportunity for us to overcome a lot of things, maybe to learn how to become the bigger and self-aware person that we want to be. Maybe this will be the perfect key, the perfect lesson so that we can empower that inner self, that you know, that true self, the I am, the one that is so perfect within us. You know, those opportunities are always coming up. And like I said, by no surprise, it's going to be on a day that most people will be with their family, at least in America. Um, but you can use this, I mean, no matter what, like even if you're in a different country or, you know, you're from somewhere else, from freaking, I don't know, Jupiter, you can still use this energy and because you might be going to a family house, you know, family's party or friends or whatever, like this will still show up regardless in your life somewhere. Or if even if you're just staying home, like this somewhere, this could still show up in different ways. Maybe that day you're just putting too much on yourself and or I mean, unless you're sleeping all day, I mean, I can see it still showing up regardless. But just to be self aware that the sun is squaring Saturn that day. Trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, that was like my Thanksgiving edition, is just to kind of let people know what to expect for Thanksgiving and the energy that's actually going to be happening that day. Because I know I needed it. I know I needed to actually be self aware of it because, like I said, I can be I can poke a lot. And sometimes it's really fun for me. So I have to be really careful. I'll just give you a quick example. My husband's mother had said that, you know, because we're going to a country club that day to have Thanksgiving, and you know, there's not supposed to be jeans allowed, which I totally understand. There are rules, especially going to a country club. And I just mess around. I was like, well, you're gonna wear black jeans then, so she can't notice. Just like, you know, poking. He's like, stop. I'm like, and I'm gonna wear all leather. It's just the rebellion in me is just so natural that any kind of authority comes up, I instantly just want to kind of like fight back. But I respect her, I love her, and I don't want to cause, you know, friction between any of us because that's not what it is about at the end of the day. Like, I know, at least the way I interpret Thanksgiving, regardless of past history and what it really means, it's a day for us to spend time with our family and to respect each other and love each other and be in love with one another. So putting all your quarrels to the side and just allowing each other just to be who they are and accepting for everything for who they are. And that's kind of why I wanted to make this, because I really think that a lot of people maybe could use this. I know I could, and this is a good reminder and kind of checking myself, be like, nope, see, you knew and you still screwed up. If that's what ends up happening, let's hope not. But yeah, so I hope everybody has such a beautiful, beautiful family day on Thursday. You guys eat lots of turkey. I can't wait for turkey and what else? Mashed potatoes and oh, my new thing. I don't know why I all of a sudden started liking them, but cranberries, turkey, and mashed potatoes are bomb, and a little bit of bread, like amazing. But I would love to hear what your guys' favorite dish is, because everybody likes different things. I know a lot. My niece loves. Oh, she has like awesome stuffing. Unfortunately, I won't be able to have that this year. But I know some people like mac and cheese. You know, their macaroni and cheese. Oh, I don't like that. Like bubble guts all the way. But anyways, I love you guys. Yeah, let me know if this video resonated with you down below, and let me know like if there's anything that comes up for you on Thursday. I would love to hear anybody's experience, or if you're watching this after Thanksgiving then and you felt like you probably fell into that transit. I hope your heart as well. But okay, I think that's it. All right. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm really excited about this channel. Like I said, I just decided just to do this. I'm not going to edit anything on here because I just want to be myself. And so if you subscribe and you also like, that will tell me that, I'm doing something right. So I love you. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.